What if it's not possible? Let us have a conversation, one that takes a deeper look into the lessons we often overlook. No one is ever truly too busy. It's a matter of priorities. You see, people will tell you they're caught up in life's demands, but the reality is that what they focus on reflects what matters most to them. If someone truly values something or someone, they make time. Now you might say, what if it's not possible? But think about it. Hasn't there always been a moment, even if brief, to prioritize what makes you feel alive? It's not about time, it's about intention. When we recognize this, we can start realigning our lives in a way that mirrors what truly matters to us, not what we claim is taking our attention. If something brings you happiness, sometimes keeping it quiet can be the most powerful thing you do. Why? Because sharing your joy with everyone can expose it to criticism, envy, and doubt. Not everyone will be as thrilled for your success or your peace as you are. The world doesn't always celebrate quiet contentment, it often seeks to question it. But there is strength in keeping some things sacred, in allowing your own sense of joy to grow silently, untouched by the hands of those who might not understand or appreciate it. This is not secrecy, it is preservation. In many ways, it protects your happiness from the world's unpredictability. Now, let's talk about trust. Trust is a fragile thing, easily given and often easily broken. Be cautious about whom you allow into your inner circle. Think about this for a moment. Salt and sugar may look the same, but they serve very different purposes. One enriches life, while the other can lead to bitterness when misused. People are no different. Just because someone appears kind or supportive doesn't necessarily mean they have your best interests at heart. Learning to discern the true nature of those around you takes time, but it's a skill worth developing. It can save you from heartbreak, disappointment, and betrayal. Relying too heavily on others can become a dangerous habit. Even your own shadow abandons you when the darkness comes. The truth is, in life's most difficult moments, you often find yourself standing alone. But that's not a curse, it's a call to develop inner strength. We cannot depend entirely on others to carry us through the storms of life. Sure, companionship, love, and support are valuable, but at the core, you must be self-sufficient, resilient. Recognize the power within you to overcome any trial, without leaning on someone else to be your crutch. People may come and go, but you must remain constant. And while we're talking about life, remember this: some of the best moments of your life haven't even happened yet. That's a thought that should fill you with both hope and excitement. Too often, we get stuck thinking the best is behind us, or that we've missed our shot. But life is not a static line. It's full of twists, turns, and surprises. The future holds untold blessings, moments of joy, triumphs, and yes, even challenges that will refine you. Embrace the unknown, because it's not here to harm you, it's here to push you toward the person you are meant to become. Let's address bad habits for a moment. They're like a comfortable bed, easy to sink into, difficult to rise from. Think about the habits that may be holding you back. They feel familiar, don't they? Maybe they even bring a sense of comfort. But over time, comfort turns to stagnation, and stagnation can rob you of growth. The hardest part is realizing that you've become trapped in your own comfort zone. But once you do, you can take steps to break free. And though it's hard, it's always possible. A better version of yourself is waiting, just outside the comfort you've grown accustomed to. Time reveals everything, including your true value to others. This is something you must understand deeply. People may misjudge you, underestimate you, or overlook you in the short term, but with patience and perseverance, time will always uncover your worth. You don't need to rush to prove yourself to anyone. Let time be your advocate. The truth always rises, no matter how much it's buried. So trust the process, stay consistent, and allow your value to shine in its own time. One of the most important things we can learn in life is to stay calm. You've faced difficulties before, haven't you? And yet, here you are, still standing. The challenges you've already overcome are a testament to your strength, so why doubt yourself now? When life throws you another curveball, take a deep breath. Remember the storms you've weathered. You've made it through every one of your worst days. Don't let a temporary challenge make you forget your permanent strength. Another lesson, one that's often overlooked, is the importance of healing in silence. Not every wound needs to be shown to the world. You don't need to vent to everyone about your struggles or your pain. Healing, real healing, often happens in the quiet moments when no one is watching. It's when you sit with yourself, process your emotions, and slowly begin to mend. Public validation of your pain might feel good in the moment, but it doesn't bring lasting peace. Inner healing, the kind that no one else can see, is what brings true recovery. And yes, you are always being judged. No matter what you do, someone will have an opinion. But here's the key: be the person you truly want to be, not the person you think others expect you to be. It's easy to get caught up in trying to please everyone, but that's a losing game. People's opinions are fleeting, but your sense of self should be steadfast. When you align your actions with your values, the judgment of others loses its sting because you know, deep down, you're living authentically. Bad habits, trust, self-reliance, joy, and judgment. These are threads woven through the fabric of life. They intersect and overlap in ways that shape your experiences. But here's what I want you to remember. Everything you go through is a lesson, a stepping stone to the next phase of your journey. You are constantly evolving, growing, and learning, even when it doesn't feel like it. Let's paint a picture here. Imagine standing in a vast field, one that stretches as far as the eye can see. Now envision hoping to harvest crops from this land, but you haven't planted a single seed. What do you expect to find? Nothing. That's the reality we face when we chase success without putting in the hard work. The world doesn't owe us anything we haven't earned. Just like a farmer can't expect a bountiful harvest without first tilling the soil, planting seeds, and nurturing the crops, we too must put in consistent effort before we can expect to see the results we long for. Success is no accident. It's built brick by brick, through every decision and every action you take. Now, let's talk about the people in your life. You might be holding on to certain relationships, convinced they provide comfort or stability. But have you stopped to ask yourself if these people are really adding to your life, or are they holding you back? If you refuse to release the wrong individuals, how will you ever make room for the right ones? Think of it like clearing out a cluttered room. If you never get rid of what's no longer useful, how can you make space for something better? You've got to be willing to let go, to trust that new, healthier connections will find their way into your life once you stop clinging to what doesn't serve you. Let's move on to the mind. It's an incredible tool, but if you don't take the reins and direct it, someone else will. Have you ever noticed how easy it is for external influences, media, friends, societal pressures, to dictate your thoughts? If you're not consciously in control of your own thinking, it's almost as though you're handing the keys of your life to someone else. When you let others steer your mind, they're indirectly steering your life. The only way to live authentically is to be the master of your thoughts. You must guard your mind fiercely because it's the control center for everything you do, every choice you make, and every path you walk. And then there's the fear of failure, something that stops so many people in their tracks. But here's the truth: if you're not occasionally stumbling, tripping, and falling, it means you're not pushing yourself enough. You're staying in your comfort zone, playing it safe. Growth never happens in the space of ease and familiarity. Sure, falling down hurts. It's uncomfortable and can even feel humiliating. But that pain is temporary. It's the lessons we gain from those falls that make us stronger, more resilient. Every time you get back up, you're better prepared for what comes next. The real mistake is not falling down, it's staying down. Now, when it comes to the work you do, many people think that grinding away at a job is what's going to bring them satisfaction. But here's something most overlook: your job makes you a living, but it's working on yourself that builds a fortune. The real value comes from who you're becoming, not what you're doing for someone else. Your personal growth, your mindset, skills, and emotional intelligence is the most valuable asset you possess. Don't get so caught up in working for a paycheck that you neglect to invest in your own development. That's where the true fortune lies. Let's address a painful truth: not everyone will see your value. Some people won't appreciate your efforts, your abilities, or your unique qualities. But here's the danger: you must not let that person be you. If you start doubting yourself, if you let the world's opinions cloud your own self-worth, you'll begin to devalue the most important asset you have, yourself. You are your own greatest advocate. So don't let your self-worth become dependent on how others perceive you. Know your value and guard it fiercely, because if you don't, the world will price you far lower than you deserve. Think about this. Everyone has their own unique gifts, their own special abilities that no one else can replicate. If you commit to doing what only you can do, you'll find yourself in places others can't even imagine reaching. The road less traveled isn't crowded for a reason. It requires courage, persistence, and a willingness to go against the grain. But if you embrace what makes you different, you'll eventually stand in a space that's entirely yours. It's not about fitting in with the crowd. It's about standing out in a way that only you can. Now, let's take a moment to reflect. 5 years ago, you had a vision for yourself, didn't you? You had dreams, goals, things you wanted to achieve. And if you're honest with yourself, you've already reached some of those milestones. You've accomplished things that, at one time, seemed far out of reach. But it's easy to forget that when you're constantly chasing the next goal. Take a step back and appreciate how far you've come. Remember, there was a time when what you have now was just a dream. Give yourself credit for that. Along the way, you're going to face challenges, setbacks, and people who doubt your capabilities. The key is not to internalize that doubt. When others question your worth or your abilities, let it fuel your drive rather than diminish your confidence. You've been through tough times before, and you've come out the other side stronger. Every struggle is an opportunity to grow, to evolve into a version of yourself that is more resilient, more capable. Don't be afraid to face those challenges head-on. They're the stepping stones to your greatest successes. But let's not sugarcoat it. The journey won't always be easy. There will be moments when you feel like giving up, when the weight of your goals feels too heavy to carry. But in those moments, remember this: pain is temporary, but the growth you gain from pushing through it is permanent. Each small step forward, no matter how insignificant it might seem at the time, is still progress. And while others might not see the effort you're putting in behind the scenes, you'll know. You'll feel the internal shift happening, even when the external results haven't caught up yet. The most valuable investment you can make is in yourself. The time you dedicate to developing your skills, sharpening your mind, and growing emotionally is what will pay the greatest dividends. This internal work might not always show immediate results, but over time, it compounds. One day, you'll look back and realize that the person you've become is worth far more than any monetary reward. You'll understand that it's the inner transformation that led to the outer successes. So don't be afraid to put yourself first. Don't forget about the judgment of others. People will always have opinions. They'll try to tell you what you should or shouldn't do, how you should live your life. But here's the thing: their judgments don't define you. What defines you is how you choose to respond to those judgments, how you handle criticism, and how you keep moving forward despite the noise. Don't let the voices of others drown out your own inner guidance. You know yourself better than anyone else does. Change requires making decisions that feel uncomfortable. If you want a different life, you can't keep making the same choices. It's the risks you take, the new paths you forge, that will lead you to the success and fulfillment you seek. But many people shy away from this because it's easier to stay where they are. Don't be one of them. Be willing to do what others won't, and you'll have what others can't. This journey is yours and yours alone. You'll have support along the way, but no one can walk your path for you. You are the one who has to take the steps, make the decisions, and push through the challenges. And that's what makes it so special. It's uniquely yours. So own it. Be proud of the journey you're on, no matter how difficult it may seem. Every step you take is bringing you closer to the life you've always wanted. Keep moving forward, keep planting those seeds, and one day, you'll see the harvest you've worked so hard for. As though we're having a personal conversation about some vital truths that will anchor you to a life of value and resilience. You see, life is full of choices, but not all of them are meant to be kept. If people treat you like an option, understand this: they've already made their choice. Now it's your turn to choose, and the right choice is to walk away. Don't linger where your value is not recognized. You deserve people who see you as essential, not as a backup plan. The power is in your hands, not theirs. Leaving doesn't diminish you, it elevates your self-respect. You might wonder, why does this matter so much? Well, it ties into what you value most in life. So many of us get caught up in possessions, thinking they'll bring us happiness. But when you sit down and really reflect, you'll realize that it's not the things you own that fill your heart with joy. It's the memories you've made, the experiences you've lived through. These moments are life's true treasures. Think about the laughter shared, the adventures embarked upon, and the lessons learned. Those memories are what will stay with you long after the possessions lose their shine. Choose experiences over things every time, because memories will enrich your life far more than any material object ever could. And here's something that may surprise you. There are people out there who love you deeply. They see your worth, they appreciate you, but so often, we get fixated on those who don't. Why is it that we give so much of our emotional energy to those who overlook us? It's like watering a plant that's never going to grow. Instead, focus on those who genuinely care. Invest your time and love in those who see you, who value you for who you are. You are not here to convince others of your worth. Those who see it will cherish you without the need for explanation. Now, we all want to feel safe, don't we? There's a natural instinct to seek security, to avoid risk. But here's the paradox. Playing it safe is often the most dangerous thing you can do. Life rewards the brave, those willing to step out of their comfort zones and take a chance. Stagnation is the real enemy. Growth requires movement, and sometimes, that means venturing into the unknown. So, don't let fear trap you in a life of mediocrity. Take risks, make bold choices, and trust that you'll find your way, even if the path is uncertain at first. Never be ashamed of your struggles. There's this idea that we should always appear strong, that showing hardship is a weakness. But that's not true. Struggling means you're working towards something, that you're refusing to settle for less than what you deserve. Every great achievement comes with its challenges. So, hold your head high, even when you're in the thick of it. There is no shame in working hard to get where you want to be. Your struggles are proof that you're moving forward, that you have a vision for yourself beyond where you are now. But, and this is important, don't waste your energy rowing harder if your boat is headed in the wrong direction. Sometimes, we think that if we just push harder, try more, it'll work out. But effort without clarity is wasted energy. Take a moment to reflect on where you're going. Is this really the direction you want to be heading in? If not, stop. Change course. It's not a failure to adjust, it's wisdom. Don't let pride or stubbornness keep you moving in a direction that doesn't serve you. We know life can be blurry at times. Your vision may feel unclear, your path uncertain. But trust this, clarity comes with time. Just because you can't see everything perfectly right now doesn't mean you won't eventually. Sometimes, the fog needs to settle before you can see the road ahead. So be patient with yourself. Keep moving, even if the steps feel small, and trust that the way forward will reveal itself in time. There's also a simple truth we often overlook. Take care of your body. It's the vessel that carries you through this life, and without it, none of your goals or dreams are possible. Health isn't just about looking good, it's about feeling good, being able to live your life fully. Don't neglect your body in pursuit of success, because what good is success if you're too unwell to enjoy it? Health is another form of wealth, perhaps the most important kind. Speaking of wealth, remember this, you don't get paid for the hour. You get paid for the value you bring to that hour. This applies not only to your job, but to every moment of your life. It's not about how much time you spend on something, but about how much of your heart, mind, and effort you put into it. So, focus on bringing value. Show up fully in every moment. That's where the true rewards lie, not just in the ticking hours, but in the value you create with them. And in all this, don't forget, let the improvement of yourself keep you too busy to criticize others. It's so easy to point fingers, to judge others for their choices or shortcomings. But what does that achieve? Nothing, really. Criticism only distracts you from your own growth. Instead, focus on bettering yourself, on becoming the kind of person you admire. When you're truly engaged in your own progress, you won't have time to worry about what others are doing. We remind you of one thing. Life is not about perfection. It's about progress, about moving forward, even when the road is rough. You'll stumble, you'll face setbacks, but each step you take brings you closer to the person you're meant to be. Choose wisely who you walk that path with, treasure the experiences that shape you, and never lose sight of the love that surrounds you. Keep your heart open, your vision focused, and your spirit resilient. You've got this. And when doubt creeps in, remember these words. Let them anchor you to a life of purpose, value, and courage. Now we will talk about something crucial, something that touches every corner of your life. the thoughts you entertain when you're alone, and the words you choose when you're with others. You see, your mind has this uncanny ability to be both your greatest ally and your most challenging adversary. It's like a sword, sharp, powerful, capable of immense precision, but if you don't know how to handle it, it can easily cut you. When you're by yourself, it's easy to let your mind run wild, but the key lies in directing those thoughts with intention. Think of it like building a fortress around your peace, guarding what comes in and what goes out, because what you allow your mind to dwell on will shape not only how you feel but also how you act when you step into the world. When you're around people, the words you choose are equally as important. Each word carries weight, like stones being laid to build something lasting, or if used recklessly, something that can collapse. Speaking impulsively is like trying to build with loose bricks. Eventually, it all falls apart. That's why it's important to recognize the impact your words have on others. It's not about saying what people want to hear, but about ensuring that your words reflect your values and intentions. Sometimes, silence is the best response, not out of fear or avoidance, but because not every situation demands a reaction. Silence can be its own kind of strength, a way of showing control, a means to maintain your focus. Think about this for a moment. The time you spend alone is an opportunity to train your mind. Just as athletes condition their bodies, you need to condition your thoughts, refining them, pushing them toward purpose, instead of letting them drift aimlessly. The truth is, your mind can either propel you forward or hold you back, depending on how you train it. When you're alone, don't let your thoughts become your undoing. Use that time wisely, shaping your internal dialogue to match your goals and desires. It's like sculpting. Little by little, you chip away at what doesn't belong, refining what remains into something remarkable. When you're surrounded by others, you have to remember that your words hold power. And not just the words you speak, but the ones you choose to leave unspoken. There's a subtle art in knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. Sometimes, the best way to address a situation or a person is to say nothing at all, to cut ties without explanation, to withdraw your energy and attention from those who don't deserve it. You don't owe everyone your time or your words. There's strength in preserving your energy for the things that truly matter, for the people who truly value you. And yes, the reality of life is that most of us are not exactly where we want to be, and that's okay. In fact, that very fact should be enough to drive you forward. It's a reminder that you still have more to accomplish, more to achieve. Let that sense of not yet fuel your progress. The gap between where you are and where you want to be should not discourage you, but rather push you toward greater discipline. Discipline, after all, is about consistently choosing the long-term gain over the short-term pleasure. It's the ability to forego what you want right now in favor of what you ultimately desire most. Let's be clear, not everyone around you has your best interest at heart. The world is full of people who wear masks, who pretend to care but secretly hope for your failure. That's why it's essential to keep some things close to your chest. Stop sharing every detail of your life with people who don't truly care. Your plans, your dreams, these are precious, and not everyone deserves to hear them. Sometimes, the most powerful move you can make is to stay silent about your intentions until they come to fruition. Preparation is another thing we can't overlook. People often stumble because they fail to prepare adequately. You've heard it before, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. It's a universal truth that holds whether you're preparing for a conversation, a project, or even a simple day at work. When you prepare, you take control of the situation. You reduce the likelihood of being caught off guard, and you set yourself up for success. It's like building a house. You wouldn't start laying bricks without first making sure the foundation is solid. How about speaking without thinking? That's a mistake many people make. Think of it like this: words are like arrows. Once they're released, you can't pull them back. If you speak without carefully considering your words, it's like firing an arrow without aiming. You might hit something, but it likely won't be the right target. Every word should be chosen deliberately, with the understanding that what you say can either build someone up or tear them down. Here's another thing to keep in mind: you don't have to walk the same path as everyone else. In fact, some of the most significant achievements in life come from those who dared to tread where no one else had gone. Don't be afraid to carve your own path, even if it means walking alone for a time. Leadership, innovation, and success often require you to step away from the crowd and trust your own instincts. Discipline isn't just about the grand gestures or big decisions. It's in the daily choices you make, the small habits you cultivate that eventually lead to larger successes. It's easy to be disciplined when everything is going well, but the real test comes when you're faced with setbacks, challenges, and obstacles. How you respond in those moments will define your growth. Can you stick to your principles when the road gets tough, or do you let temptation steer you off course? Now your mind, your words, your actions, they are all interconnected. If you want to change your life, if you want to move closer to your goals, it starts within. You must cultivate a mindset that aligns with the life you wish to create. Your thoughts must be as disciplined as your actions. Your words must be as intentional as your efforts. This internal work is the foundation upon which all external success is built. There's something important in learning when to remain quiet. Not every moment calls for your voice, and not every battle is yours to fight. By holding back, by choosing when to speak and when to remain silent, you protect your peace. Not everyone deserves your attention, your energy, or your words. Sometimes, the greatest strength is found in walking away from situations that don't serve you, in letting your silence speak louder than any argument ever could. This journey you're on, it's not about proving yourself to others. It's about building something meaningful for yourself, something that lasts. You don't need to announce your plans or explain your reasons to everyone. Your actions will speak for themselves, and in time, those who matter will understand. Protect your progress, guard your peace, and remain focused on the bigger picture. You have the power to shape it, to decide where you're going, and how you'll get there. But that power comes with the responsibility to guard your mind and your words carefully. In the end, the discipline you build within yourself will be the foundation for everything you accomplish. So train your mind, choose your words wisely, and walk your path with purpose. You're more capable than you realize, and the strength you seek is already within you. Something that many of you already know deep down? It's a slow process, but quitting won't make it faster. This is a truth that every single person needs to hear. Think about it. How many times have you been tempted to give up because progress seems so slow, almost invisible? We are conditioned to expect instant results, but real growth, the kind that transforms your life and your character, takes time. You cannot rush it. Every step forward, no matter how small, brings you closer to where you want to be. Quitting, on the other hand, leaves you stranded. The very act of perseverance is what strengthens you. So understand that patience is not just waiting, it's how you behave while you wait. And you know what? What comes easy won't last, and what lasts won't come easy. You've seen it. Quick fixes, easy victories, they feel good in the moment, but they fade just as fast. Think about the things that have genuinely lasted in your life: relationships, skills, personal growth. All of these took effort, patience, and resilience. The things that truly matter are never handed to you. They are earned through sweat, through dedication, and sometimes through tears. There is immense value in the struggle because it forges your character. So the next time you're faced with a challenge, remind yourself that the effort is worth it. Let me also remind you of something that weighs many of you down. Don't ruin a good today by thinking about a bad yesterday. We hold on to the past as if it defines us, but the truth is, it doesn't. Yesterday's mistakes, regrets, and failures, they are lessons, not chains. Let them go. You can't change what has already happened, but you can decide how you will live today. Every day you spend dwelling on what went wrong is a day you've stolen from your present and your future. There is nothing more tragic than wasting the gift of today because of the pain of yesterday. And here's another thing you need to hear: someone else's progress doesn't diminish your own. In this world of constant comparison, it's easy to feel inadequate when you see others moving ahead faster than you. But their success is not your failure. Everyone has their own path, their own timing. Just because someone is running faster doesn't mean your journey is any less significant. Celebrate your own progress, no matter how small, because it is yours. The race you're running is with yourself, not anyone else. Let's talk about simplicity for a moment. A small circle, a private life, and a peaceful mind are priceless. You don't need a large crowd around you to feel valued. In fact, the larger your circle, the more distractions and potential conflicts arise. Surround yourself with a few people who genuinely care about you and share your values. Keep your personal life private. Not everyone needs to know your business. The fewer people involved, the more control you have over your own peace. A peaceful mind is the ultimate treasure, and it comes from within, not from the external validation or chaos of others. Now let's confront a truth that many of us avoid. Sometimes, we create our own heartbreaks through expectations. We expect things to happen a certain way, for people to behave a certain way, and when reality doesn't match our expectations, we suffer. Let things be. If it's meant to happen, it will. You don't have to force situations or people into boxes they don't fit into. Life flows better when you release control and let things unfold naturally. Sometimes, the things we force are the very things that break us. Another important point: just be real. It saves everyone time. There's no need to pretend, to put on a mask for the world. The people who truly matter will appreciate your authenticity, and those who don't won't stick around anyway. Being real means being vulnerable, but it also means being free. You don't have to live up to anyone's expectations but your own, and when you live authentically, you attract people and opportunities that align with who you truly are. But here's a word of caution: don't share your personal life with just anyone. Privacy is power. Not everyone who listens to you cares about you, and not everyone who asks questions deserves answers. You must protect your inner world, your dreams, your struggles, and your joys. When you share too much with the wrong people, you give them power over you. Keep some things sacred. Not everything is meant to be shared. And this is key: never let anyone have anything that could harm you. That means protecting your boundaries, your peace, and your well-being. It's not selfish to look after yourself, it's essential. There will be people who want to take advantage of your kindness, your openness, but you must be wise enough to protect yourself. Guard your heart and your mind, because they are the foundation of your strength. Embrace solitude. It's not something to be feared, but rather a time for reflection and self-discovery. In solitude, you hear your own thoughts, your own desires, without the noise of the world. It's in these quiet moments that you find clarity and strength. Solitude is where you reconnect with your core, where you build resilience. Don't fill your time with distractions to avoid being alone with yourself. Instead, embrace it as a time to grow. And listen carefully to this. Don't let anyone make you feel like you don't deserve what you want. You are worthy of your desires, your dreams, and your goals. Anyone who tries to convince you otherwise is projecting their own insecurities onto you. You have the right to pursue the life you want, to go after your ambitions without feeling guilty or unworthy. Don't let anyone's doubt become your own. Now, a word of caution about comfort. You'll grow mentally weak if your life is too comfortable. Challenges and discomfort are what force us to grow. If everything is too easy, you won't stretch your limits, and you'll stagnate. Seek out challenges. Push yourself beyond what feels comfortable, because that's where growth happens. Comfort is nice, but growth is essential. Sharing your accomplishments is essential, but avoid oversharing every minor success. Not every victory needs to be broadcasted. Save your energy for the things that truly matter, and when you do share, let it be a reflection of your growth, not a need for validation. People will respect you more for your humility and your discretion. Life's greatest achievements often arise from the depths of adversity. It's in the hardest moments that you discover your true strength. When everything seems to be falling apart, that's when you have the opportunity to rise. Don't fear adversity, embrace it. It's shaping you into the person you're meant to become. Have you ever caught yourself in that critical moment when you let go of your routine, when discipline slips through your fingers, and you start to lose grip on your goals? The truth is, the second you abandon your discipline, you're not just letting go of a habit, you're letting go of your commitment to yourself. It's a quiet form of surrender, one that happens almost unnoticed. But here's the thing: every time you push aside the hard work and the structure that's designed to shape you, you're silently agreeing to fall short of the person you could be. Progress isn't about getting everything right the first time. It's about taking one imperfect step after another. That's why done is always better than perfect. You don't have to be flawless, but you do have to keep moving. Every small win, every effort, builds the momentum that will carry you forward. Now, when you think about the people in your life, consider this. Sometimes, the person who causes you the most harm is the very one you've put your trust in. It's a difficult truth to face, but not everyone who stands close to you is there with pure intentions. Some people wear the disguise of a friend or a loved one, but deep down, they may be more concerned with their own interests than yours. Beware of those wolves dressed in sheep's clothing. They can blend in seamlessly, making it harder to distinguish their motives. Trust is a precious thing, but it doesn't mean turning a blind eye to the possibility of betrayal. Being aware of this doesn't make you paranoid, it makes you wise, and wisdom is what will protect your heart when trust is misplaced. Let's talk about self-care for a moment. There's a stigma around it, as if taking care of yourself means you're being self-centered, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Self-care isn't selfish, it's the foundation of a healthy, meaningful life. Think of it as the maintenance that keeps you running smoothly. If you don't take time to nourish your mind, body, and soul, how can you expect to give your best to anyone else? A balanced life isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. When you ignore self-care, you're ignoring the signals your body and mind are giving you. It's like driving a car and ignoring the warning lights. Eventually, everything will break down, and by then, it might be too late to repair the damage. Time, my friend, is the one thing we can never get back. You can always earn more money, make more connections, even find new opportunities, but once time is gone, it's gone forever. It's only when we start to see it slip away that we realize how invaluable it is. Time's true worth often reveals itself too late. So don't wait until you're looking back in regret. Be intentional with how you spend it, because every hour wasted is an opportunity lost. You don't have to fill every moment with productivity, but you do need to be mindful of how you're using the limited time you have. The choices you make today will shape the life you look back on tomorrow. Success isn't some grand event that happens overnight. It's the result of surviving all your missteps and failures. It's easy to look at people who have made it and think they somehow had it easier, but the truth is, winners don't spend their time dwelling on how often they fell, they focus on getting back up. On the flip side, those who lose themselves in comparison, watching others succeed, miss out on their own potential. They spend more energy focusing on others than they do on their own growth. Ask yourself, are you learning from your mistakes, or are you letting them define your limitations? Before anything truly remarkable happens in your life, there's often a period where everything seems to be falling apart. It's as if the universe is testing you, seeing if you have what it takes to handle the greatness that's coming your way. It's in these moments of chaos that you have to hold on the tightest. One day, you'll look back and see why God made you wait. The delays, the roadblocks, the struggles, they're all pieces of a puzzle that you can't fully see yet. Trust that there's purpose in the waiting, that something is being built inside of you during these times of uncertainty. It's hard to see it now, but patience will reveal the reasons behind the setbacks. For your own well-being, it's important to protect your privacy. Don't let people know too much about you. You don't owe anyone a detailed account of your life's inner workings. This isn't about being secretive, it's about maintaining healthy boundaries. The more people know, the more they feel entitled to have opinions about your choices. And those opinions can start to weigh you down. Your peace of mind depends on how well you guard your inner world. Share only what is necessary with those who have earned your trust, not with those who simply ask for it. Telling the truth is one of the simplest ways to free yourself from the burden of remembering the lies you've told. When you stick to honesty, you don't have to keep track of different versions of the same story. The truth is consistent. It doesn't change with time or circumstance. People may not always appreciate your honesty, but they will respect you for it. And in the long run, the respect you gain from being truthful is far more valuable than any temporary benefit a lie might bring you. When someone tells you that you can't do something, what they're really showing you is the limit of their own abilities, not yours. It's crucial to recognize the difference. People love to project their insecurities onto others, but just because they can't see the possibility doesn't mean you're incapable. You are the only one who truly understands what you're capable of, and if you let others define your limits, you'll never reach your full potential. If you live your life constantly seeking the approval of others, you will inevitably fall apart the moment that approval is withheld. There's a dangerous trap in basing your self-worth on external validation. The truth is, you'll never please everyone, and if you spend your life trying to do so, you'll lose yourself in the process. True freedom comes when you stop living for others and start living for yourself. You are enough as you are, and you don't need anyone's permission to be who you are. There are two kinds of pain in this world, one that breaks you down and another that shapes you into something stronger. Most people run from pain, But the truth is, the pain that changes you is the one that brings growth. It's not easy to endure, but it's necessary if you want to become the person you're meant to be. Embrace the discomfort, knowing that it's moving you towards something better. Growth rarely happens in comfort zones. Your time is valuable, and not everyone deserves it. Be selective about who you give your time to, because once you spend it, you can't get it back. Think of your time as a resource, one that should be invested wisely. If someone doesn't respect or appreciate your time, it's a clear sign they don't deserve it. It's better to be alone than to give your time to those who don't value it. Sometimes the best thing you can do when someone doesn't value your words is to remain silent. You don't always need to defend yourself or engage in a debate with people who aren't truly listening. Silence speaks volumes. It's a way of maintaining your dignity when others are trying to undermine you. Not every battle is worth fighting, and not every conversation needs to be had. Fear is a fleeting emotion, but regret has a way of lingering. It's easy to let fear stop you from taking risks, but in the end, it's not the fear you'll remember, it's the chances you didn't take. Regret is far heavier than fear, and it has a way of sticking around much longer. So when faced with a choice, ask yourself whether you'd rather deal with the discomfort of fear now or the weight of regret later. Excuses might make your day easier in the moment, but they make your life harder in the long run. Discipline, on the other hand, does the opposite. It makes today harder, but it guarantees an easier tomorrow. The question is, which challenge are you willing to face? The short-term comfort of an excuse or the long-term benefit of discipline? Every time you choose discipline, you're investing in a better future for yourself. Lastly, don't give up. You're closer than you think. It's easy to feel discouraged when you're in the middle of a struggle, but often, the breakthrough is just around the corner. You've come this far, and walking away now would mean abandoning everything you've worked for. Keep pushing, even when it feels like nothing is happening. Sometimes progress is invisible, but that doesn't mean it's not there. You're on the verge of something great. Don't stop now. Sometimes being alone is the best medicine for your soul. Let's start with this simple truth. When we allow ourselves the time and space to be alone, we open the door to clarity. It's not always comfortable at first, but solitude is a powerful ally. In those quiet moments, when no one else is there to influence your thoughts or emotions, you can finally hear your own voice. And that voice, often drowned out by the noise of daily life, can guide you toward a deeper understanding of who you are and what you truly need. You see, your future needs that version of you, the one who is in tune with their inner self, not the one chained to the mistakes or regrets of the past. Your past, while valuable as a teacher, has no place in shaping your future beyond the lessons it offers. Imagine trying to move forward while constantly looking behind you. You're bound to stumble. Don't get burned twice by the same flame. We've all experienced that moment when we touch the fire, knowing we shouldn't, but the allure is strong. What matters is not that you got burned, but what you do after. Will you keep your hand away next time? Or will you repeat the same cycle, expecting a different outcome? Worrying about losing before you even begin something is akin to already accepting defeat. Why rob yourself of the possibility of victory before you even give yourself a chance? Life is a continuous cycle of falling, breaking, failing, and then rising, healing, overcoming. This is how we grow. You cannot experience one without the other. Falling teaches us humility, healing teaches us resilience. And overcoming? It shows us that we are stronger than we ever imagined. These moments of failure aren't to be feared, they're to be embraced. In every failure, there is a seed of growth. The real tragedy is not in the fall but in staying down. Sacrifice is part of this journey. Sacrifice a few years of comfort for decades of freedom. This idea might sound counterintuitive at first, but when you look at the bigger picture, it makes sense. We live in a world that celebrates immediate gratification, but true freedom, real lasting freedom, comes from discipline. The more willing you are to delay your comfort now, the more likely you are to reap the rewards later. Have patience. All things are difficult before they become easy, and this is one of those universal truths that we often overlook in our quest for quick results. Hardship, while uncomfortable, is often the precursor to extraordinary destinies. We don't like to hear that hardship is necessary, but think about the people who have achieved great things. They weren't handed success on a silver platter. They were tested, stretched, and pushed beyond their limits. It's through hardship that you discover just how capable you are. In the furnace of difficulty, ordinary people become extraordinary, and that includes you. Let's talk about your mindset. Positive thinking isn't just a feel-good mantra, it's a strategy. Positive thinking will let you do everything better than negative thinking ever will. Why? Because your mindset shapes your reality. When you approach life with a negative outlook, you limit yourself. You see only obstacles, and you shrink in the face of challenges. But when you train your mind to focus on the positive, you see possibilities where others see problems. You give yourself a chance to thrive, even in difficult circumstances. Mistakes are inevitable, but the only real mistake is the one from which you learn nothing. Every misstep, every error, every failure has something to teach you. Don't waste it. Instead of beating yourself up over what went wrong, ask yourself, what can I take from this? How can I use this experience to grow? That's where the value lies. Don't let yesterday take up too much of today. Yesterday is over. Done. It doesn't own you unless you let it. The power you have is in today, in the choices you make right now. Focus on that. If you get tired, learn to rest, not to quit. This is crucial. There will be times when you feel like giving up. But understand that tiredness is not a reason to quit, it's a reason to pause, to catch your breath. It's okay to step back for a moment. In fact, it's necessary. But quitting? That's the only thing that guarantees failure. Don't confuse fatigue with finality. You've heard it before. The two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why. Purpose is everything. Without it, you're just drifting. When you find your why, everything changes. You move with intention. You act with clarity. And even when the road gets tough, you keep going because you know it's leading you somewhere important. Your past is a place to learn and grow, not a place to live. This is key. Too many of us get stuck in the past, reliving our mistakes, our pain, our regrets. But the past is not a home, it's a school. Learn your lessons, then move forward. Don't let it anchor you down. There's a reason why the windshield is bigger than the rearview mirror. What's ahead is far more important than what's behind. Don't rush the process. Trust it. Great things take time. We live in a world that thrives on speed. Everything is instant: food, communication, entertainment. But the most meaningful things in life don't happen overnight. They require time, effort, patience. When you rush, you risk missing out on the depth, the richness, the wisdom that comes from the process itself. Understand that you are constantly evolving. You are not the same person you were a year ago, a month ago, or even yesterday. And that's a good thing. Growth is a sign of life. Embrace the changes, even when they're uncomfortable. You are being shaped into someone stronger, wiser, more resilient.